Just to wrap up, what we did last time was do the thank you protocol. Thank you protocol consists of breathing in, hold, breathing out, hold. So when you are breathing in, you are mentally saying thank for the breath itself, for the inhalation that you did, you are blessed with. I think that is the biggest blessing is that we can inhale fresh air and exhale fresh air, the impure air, and you can hold. So there is a gratitude component when you say mentally say thank, and when you exhale you say you. There is a gratitude component to that, and then there is a deep conscious breathing component because when you're deep breathing, big time deep breathing, that becomes pranayam actually. Conscious deep breathing is pranayam, and unconscious breathing. Unconsciously, when we breathe, we are never deep breathers. So, conscious deep breathing is called pranayam. So, when the gratitude component and the conscious deep breathing component, which is basically the pranayam component, are clubbed together, then the activation of the chakras happen by default. This is my personal experience, I'm telling you. Anybody who has done this has had experienced this particular thing happen without it is the most, I would say, most non-threatening kundalini activation without the harsh methods used in yoga. There are lots of harsh methods used in yoga which can um, so if it is not done properly with the right gurus, it can lead to schizophrenic situations. So that is not we are interested in. Okay. And or various mental abnormalities has happened. I have seen this happen personally in my life. Several hundreds of them who have not followed or have followed a so-called guru who said he is a guru, he can tell everybody everything. Still did not get anywhere close to self-realization, and all they did was got get crazy and they got schizophrenics and all that stuff. This thank you protocol is so non-threatening, it is so Mickey Mouse that anybody can do it and it can this can happen to them. Because why it happens to them, then of course when you have all the chakras activated, you automatically land up into deep meditative component, which is what is written in the chapter 9, page 146 of the Gravity of the Gratitude book. So that is a peep into the deep consciousness space in deep meditation. That's what we have. Now this is what was we discussed little bit, but we only discussed up to here the gratitude component. We did not discuss the deep breathing component, neither the meditative component. So this deep breathing component, which is the pranayam component, and the hidden meditative component, and of course the chakra activation, all that stuff, will be discussed today. Let's talk about the pranayam component. Now there is a there is a in our spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. This one. This is the vertebral column here. So this is the cross section like that, longitudinal section. So this is the pons area here, and this is the medulla oblongata area. So pons and medulla oblongata area has the receptors for breathing. This is the place where our respiratory component, neural respiratory component lies. Okay. So let's say when you are doing the what you call deep breathing, right? And you are doing Khechari Mudra. Now I'm not talking about the Khechari Mudra, simple, because it will become too complicated. Now, what is Khechari Mudra? Is rolling your tongue up to touch the palate, the roof of this. So if you do this little bit, so what happens is this portion is pushed this side, right, towards the right. And what happens when you deep breathe? So this particular portion which makes the passage little constricted, just little constricted. So if people who have studied Bernoulli's third principle, Bernoulli's principles in physics says that there is a pressure head and there is a velocity. So there are two different pressure and velocities are inversely related in Bernoulli's principle. So what you do is here you create a small passage and you breathe through that deeply. And what happens, there is a higher velocity because you are breathing the same speed. But what happens, it becomes higher here, higher, much more higher speed. And that causes low pressure, high velocity, low pressure. So low pressure will cause this area to fluctuate little bit, just little bit. So it will cause medulla oblongata here, medulla region here to get activated. Respiratory mechanical activation of medulla. Even before the breath reaches your lungs, this is already activated so as to trigger further mechanisms. Okay. So this is basically your secondary respiratory center and the primary respiratory center. You see the blue ones are the respiratory center and the red ones are the blood pressure control region. And then this was the urinary bladder, which means thermoregulation. What you call excretory function regulation, right? And this is water balance. So all this whole area is basically, I would consider this as your Agya Chakra because here everything is located. Pituitary organ is there, hypothalamus is there, temperature control is there. All the different functions exist right here. So when you are breathing properly like this in this part of the region, this when you activate these two regions, respiratory control, then everything else takes place. So I'll show you just a little bit better here. There are five respiratory groups. Okay, and this whole area is the pons, and this is the medulla oblongata. Okay, so there are three receptor groups: ventral receptor group, central chemoreceptor group, and the dorsal receptor. So these are the ones which get activated actually. And there are another two very good ones. Those are the secondary ones, secondary respiratory group, which is pneumotactic center and a apneustic center. These five receptor groups control our entire physiology. And that is why pranayama is considered such a powerful technique. If done properly, it can lead to pranic control of our own life. So this is how the pranic control happen. Five prana, right? So the prana, apana, vyana, samana, udan, and all that. So these are the ones which are basically the red ones are the prana, and this particular blue one is apana, and the brown one is vyana and saman. So all these kind of this entire region, this whole thing controls at least four pranas. Just imagine that. So I'll show you further how these guys are connected to all the other regions of the brain. Uh, what happens is this entire region controls Vyan Vayu. What is Vyan Vayu? Basically, it is Anhat and Manipura chakra when they get activated. These are controlling the temperature of our body. Apanat Vayu is means Swadhisthana chakra in control. So that controls the water balance. And Saman Vayu is Manipura chakra, eating control behavior, right? And Apan Vayu is urinary bladder, Swadhisthana chakra. Pran Vayu is respiratory control, another Vishuddhi chakra. Anhat chakra is Vyan Vayu, another, you know that this one also, and also controls blood pressure. And Udan Vayu is Vishuddhi chakra, immune regulation center. And Pran Vayu is the Vishuddhi chakra, which is the primary respiratory control. So this whole region, I, most people say that Agya chakra is here, but I think Agya chakra is this one because this is the major. Agya means that you agree, you control center, right? That is Agya chakra is control center. It gives commands. Agya means give commands. to the entire system or physiological function of our body. This is where it's at. And it is deeply embedded inside the brain and your physiology. It is so tightly controlled here. Around here, there is skull here, big one, and it is so deep inside that you will never approach it any other way other than dissection. So the best way to get inside is, see, the only function that the only involuntary function that can be controlled voluntarily is our breath. I repeat again, the only involuntary function that can be controlled voluntarily is our breath. See, involuntary control, what is the involuntary function? Breathing is involuntary. When you're sleeping, you are not conscious, but you are breathing anyway. Circulatory system, you are not in control. It is automatically happening. Digestive one, you cannot control it. It's already happening. Right? Every other system in our body we cannot control personally. At will also forget about it. But the only thing at will we can control is our breathing, right? So breathing is the doorway to controlling all the others. And once you understand that close to this doorway are these other centers. So if you control the breathing apparatus, then the rest of the other apparatus is already taken care of. So this is what I just talked about. So when you say in Hanuman Chalisa, they talk about Nasay Rog Hare Sab Pira, Japat Nirantar Hanumat Veera. So if you watch the Yogic Neurosciences in Hanuman Chalisa videos on YouTube, it is on Yogic Realization YouTube channel. So if you watch these, you will know what I'm talking. So Hanumanji is basically our breath. So when you are consciously Japat Nirantar Hanumat Veera, which means Japat Nirantar Hanumat Veera means when you are consciously aware of your breath, then all the Nasya Rog Hare Sab Pira, all the rog and the pira means afflictions will be gone. You must, there are only two types of affliction, physical and mental or psychological, right? That's it, nothing and spiritual. So these are the afflictions of our body. So if you do this Hanumat Gira, which means conscious breathing, then all the affliction. So let's talk about the physical, respiratory, circulatory, neuroimmune, excretory, digestive. These are the major physical functions, and all the physical afflictions happen with these only. There is no other situation, right? Of course, neuroimmune, when you talk about Udanwari, then there is another. This is the one which leads to the brain or the psychological or neurological challenges. So that is another level of functions. So this is breath remaining constant. Now, if these five receptors are triggered in our breathing process, then those five receptors are the one which control the receptor respiratory, circulatory, neuroimmune, excretory, and digestive functions. This is what Pancha Prana means. This is one prana, and when it activates the receptor, five receptors, then it converts into Pancha Prana, the five, and that is, if this is one Ekmukhi Hanumanji, then this will become a Panchamukhi Hanumanji. So this is what we are talking about. One pranayam, Ekmukhi Hanumanji, five physiological function converts into Panchamukhi Hanumanji. This is what it is. So our rishis are so beautiful people, so wonderful people. They had visualization, such powerful visualization that they can if before they were before time, once 1 million, not one yug or several yug before time, they had that realization that if you do proper breathing, you will control, you will please Hanumanji. Panchmukhi, you will please him. What is pleasing means that you are in control of these guys. If you have control of your breath, then everything is under control. This is just a small diagram. If you make the entire system, it will become too crowded. So this is the medulla oblongata, and there you see respiratory control. Now this fellow is actually indirectly controlling this guy, which is this guy hypothalamus area. The hypothalamus controls pituitary function. Remember that. And pituitary controls pituitary is a master endocrine function, right? So it will control all the five hormonal situation. So once you control this area, then this controls the hypothalamus area. The hypothalamus will control the pituitary area. Pituitary will control the entire five, all the hormone, the thyroid hormone, the insulin, the glucagon, and the cortisol. All the hormones are taken care of with just proper breathing. Okay, so this is just a simple one, and you see the other one is this particular one, the cardiovascular center. When you are breathing, the cardiovascular center also gets activated, and it controls everything else. That is the beauty of it. So the pranayam or the life force component, the process of pran pratishtha. Now, when we were born, right? Let's say we see this kind of a big stone, right? This is Krishna Shila, which was brought to make this Ramlala in Ayodhya. Remember, this from this particular stone, this is carved out, monolithic. It is purely monolithic. The entire thing is monolithic, right? Now, this is still this is a very beautiful statue, Ramlala idol. Now, this is not deity yet. It is an idol, right? Because it has not gone pran pratishtha. So they say until and unless this murti, this is a murti, but it is not an idol yet. It is not worshipable because it has not gone pran pratishtha. Any one from any idol or the murti, if it has to become deity, which means you go to the temple and ask, and it shall be fulfilled. That is the deity. Whatever manorath, whatever you have thought of in your mind, whatever the thought you have, whichever thought you have gone to in the temple, say Balaji temple in Tirupati, you go there with any thought and it gets fulfilled. You go to with a thought to any other. Why is it? This is pran pratisthit deities. These are pran pratisthit Siddha deity. Siddha deity is the pran pratisthit deity, which means some very advanced saint has done the pran pratishtha from within him to the deity. This is the beautiful part of the pran pratishtha process. So what is pran pratishtha actually? Let's say we have fertilization happened, and within 9 months this baby's embryo is formed and the baby is born. So when the baby is brand new born, the first is the baby cries, right? That is triggering the breathing apparatus in him, and they start to breathe, right? Breathing. Now, what is breathing? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. The baby does not know what is the pause between inhalation and exhalation and inhalation. Adult, this fellow is also doing the inhalation, exhalation. This baby is doing inhalation, exhalation. Adult also doing inhalation, exhalation. Elderly also doing inhalation and exhalation. And all of them are Shwas Pratisthit, not Pran Pratisthit yet, and never knew what Pran Pratishtha was. So there is from the cradle to the grave, nobody knows what Pran Pratishtha means. We are only Shwas Pratisthit. So if you are just breathing, this is what it is, this process. Baby, adult, elderly, never knew what Pran Pratishtha was. Okay. But Pran Pratishtha means something else. So this particular lower arrow, like this particular one, empty lung, you inhale and you exhale. That's it. This is our life thus far. Moment you understand pranayam, which is nothing but awareness breathing, then you inhale, full your lungs is full, and then you hold for a while with lungs full, then you exhale with another hold, and then the cycle repeats itself. So until and unless you are conscious of the inner kumbhak, they call it this is inner kumbhak, right? Or inner um, holding of the breath. Now, any time whenever you are holding your breath, you are actually conscious. This you are never conscious of inhalation and exhalation because we have practiced this one so deeply that we are never aware that whether we are inhaling or exhaling, right? But if you want to become aware of your breathing, the best way to become aware of breathing is to take when you inhale, hold. Hold makes the breathing become awareful. Both sides. This is inner kumbhak, this is outer kumbhak. Means exhale and hold, this is inhale and hold. Until unless we do inhale and hold and exhale and hold, the breathing can never become pranayam. Oh, I am breathing. No, you are just simply breathing. You are not doing pranayam. So any place where they teach you to breathe, do pranayam without the hold, that is they don't know. So tell them, I am sorry you don't know what pranayam means. I am doing shvasayam anyway. Teach me pranayam. Pranayam is inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. And if in this, if you can bring in any mantra, Om Namo Vasudevaya or Om Namah Hold Shivaya. Om Namah Hold Shivaya. Hold. Om Namah or say thank, hold, you. Again hold. Thank, hold, you, hold. So any mantra can be used as a vehicle to reformat your brain wiring completely. And we have discussed how the gratitude or the being gratitude meditation, this becomes a gratitude meditation actually, and that is the beauty of it. It doubles two prong attack or two prong benefits of pranayam happens in addition to the gratitude, because gratitude has the highest frequency which can trigger the further development of the prefrontal cortex. We saw that last time. Now, what is the antar kumbhaka? What is the benefit of inhalation and hold? Normally, we inhale 21% oxygen, right? So with normal breathing, we exhale normal, just shvasayam. Remember, shvasayam is normal breathing. When we do that shvasayam, we exhale 16% of oxygen and only 5% is taken in because we don't give time enough to oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange to take place. Let's say we breathe 16 times per minute, that decreases our lifespan. Compare that with the tortoise breathing. The tortoise lives longer, long, because he breathes once in 5 minutes. I mean, that guy is living longer. A yogi lives longer than an ordinary person because she decides to leave the body, and he can, unless he decides to leave the body at will. Most yogis, when they have got this secret down in their life, they want to tell the humanity and they live as long as because of the compassion for humanity. They all yogis, most yogis I have seen live longer. Why? Because they not for their own, not to watch TV or any other program on social media. They don't live long for that purpose. They live long to serve mankind. All they do is teach them how to breathe. Can you believe that? Teach them pranayam. Now, when we inhale and hold for 4 seconds or more, carbon dioxide exchange takes place, right? We inhale and hold for 4 seconds or more, carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange take place very well. Now, our breathing becomes 4 breaths per minute. What happens when you take inhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, again hold 4 seconds. This is one breath cycle, right? So let's say it takes 16 seconds, right? 16 seconds or 15 seconds, let's say. Multiply by 4, 1 minute you breathe 4 times versus here you're doing 16 times per minute. So who do you think are you going closer to tortoise or going closer to dog? Dog breathes around 30, 40 breaths per minute or maybe 50 breaths per minute, right? And he lives how long? 20 years. Whereas tortoise breathes like this. So we are going closer to tortoise. Yogis live can breathe. The guru of Paramahansa Yogananda used to breathe once in 1 minute. So you can say 15-second inhalation, 15-second hold, 15-second exhalation, and again 15-second hold. One breath cycle once 1 minute. And that was it. Normal. The pranic breathing became his normal breathing. He was doing pranayam 24 hours, not 10 second, 20 second. No, that type of. And with that, you have not just taken control of your physiology, but you are in charge of the universe. Because Brahmande and Pinde and Brahmande, they are the same. Once you are in charge of this apparatus, you are in charge of the whole world, universe. That is living free. That is true freedom. Okay. That is the freedom that is being taught in yoga. Yoga Shita you talk about, Upanishad you talk about everything. This is exactly what Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. The goal is freedom. Now, summary of the benefits of exhalation and hold. Causes. Now, in science, it is not mentioned as Bahya Kumbha, right? They take very they have a very peculiar way of understanding. So if you are looking at Bahya Kumbhak and what is the benefit, you in the internet you will not find a single hit. Where if you put transient hypoxia means short time, hypoxia means less oxygen, which basically means little bit increased carbon dioxide, right? Transient increase in carbon dioxide is what hypoxia means. So what happens is this triggers hematopoietic stem cell system, which means it triggers the immune cells and creates new blood from the bone marrow. Hematopoietic stem cell system exists in the bone marrow. Okay, this particular thing. So what happens is, let's say if you are going jasmine plant, most people from southern India have jasmine plant in their home, definitely all of them. How do you make the jasmine plant flower rapidly? Don't give the jasmine plant water for 1 week. And then suddenly you will find new leaf and new buds coming up rapidly. What happens is the plant thinks that it is going to die. So it has to promote itself, right? So by creating flowers and creating more but, this thing fragrance and all that so that it can attract any plant you want to make it flower rapidly. You do not give water for one week and you will see a plant growing crazy afterwards. This is what it is. Same is here. So don't give oxygen for 1 second, few seconds, 4 seconds, that's it. 4 seconds, yes. Just don't give oxygen to the body for 4 seconds and or 4 to 7 seconds, whichever way you feel like. From 4 to 15 seconds, that's fine. What happens is body thinks is going to die. So what is the first thing that keeps us alive is oxygen, right? So it produces more red blood cells to carry whatever oxygen it is there in the breath cycle. Maybe a little bit oxygen is there and catch it. So it produces more RBC. Second thing is immune cells. The body thinks the defense mechanism is somebody is attacking the body. Let's produce more immune cells. This is the secret of living in COVID time. This was the uh, lecture which I talked about. Now this particular thing itself was a lecture, like 1 hour. So I talked about all the immune cells and things like that, what is getting produced and all that. So anyway, that is a different matter. But how do you create immunity, strong immunity through pranayam? Through pranayam, when somebody says, "Oh, your immunity will become good with you do pranayam, you will be." Oh, how do you? What do you? People ask dumb questions like, "Oh, what makes you think so?" Don't do it. Die. Don't worry about us. Let us live life. I'm teaching you something which is scientifically proven and validated by hundreds of scientists all over the world. If you do it, great. If you don't do it, great. No big deal. Neuroplasticity, neurogenesis. Neuroplasticity means, let's say you have a stroke. You do pranayam and you will. My mother happened to have a stroke long time ago. She is no more now, but she had stroke. And somebody suggested do pranayam. What kind of pranayam? It's a anulom vilom, the alternate nostril breathing they call it. And to be very honest, within 3 months' time, she recovered. She had entire right body paralysis because of stroke. This is called neuroplasticity. When the lost function is taken over by nearby brain area, or it triggers new uh, neurogenesis to take place, so that new neurons are formed, and the old have died because of stroke. So that is basically the thing. Now, if somebody says, what about if the new neurons are formed, then in Alzheimer's brain also the neurons are dying. Can it also reverse or slow down Alzheimer? Yes, it is a neuroprotective for Alzheimer disease as well. Most at the age of 60, 70, most women, mostly ladies, they have bone fractures most of the time, or their bone become brittle because the body wants calcium, their calcium deficiency. Bone is full of calcium and phosphate, so bone will dissolve. The bone will be dissolved in bits and spurts, so as to release all the calcium into the blood so that they can survive with the deficiency. But in the process, what happens? The bone become brittle, and then they fall. Another one is cardiomyocyte. Wherever there is heart attack, let's say, right? Some um, situation happen where the uh, heart infarct happens, right? Somewhere heart muscle die. So if you do anulom vilom, yes, it will happen. It will create new muscle in the heart. Liver regeneration, fatty liver, and all some of the bad habits have created liver degeneration. So if you do anulom vilom, it will promote liver wherever there is stem cell involved. Chondrogenesis stem cell, Alzheimer neuronal stem cell, neuroblast, hematopoietic stem cell, liver stem cell, cardiac stem cell. Wherever there are stem cells involved, anulom vilom or transient hypoxia can help. Now remember, we in our Bharat, they were always suggesting after you become grandfather, you should go to Kailash Mansarovar, or you should go to Uttarkashi, or you should go to uh, those Gangotri, Yamunotri, all those places, man, you should go there. Why you should go there? When they come back, because before that they had all the body pain going on all the time. This complaint, that complaint, somebody say, if you touch my body here, it pains. Everywhere it pains. Because and they have forgetting things, and they are almost like in dementia situation or Alzheimer situation. Why they are these people are made to go to heights in mountainous area, because mountainous area contain less oxygen anyway, right? Because that will make them hypoxic, transient hypoxia. It's not that absolutely absence of oxygen, it is low oxygen, hypoxia, not absence of oxygen. Hypo means little less of oxygen, and with that little less of oxygen, these physiological functions get rejuvenated. And when they come back, they're all fired up and they have no complaint about forgetting of anything. They can remember everything and they have no stroke, they have no nothing. Everything is fantastic. This is what is the secret of longevity. Healthy longevity, not miserable longevity, healthy longevity. Go to these higher mountainous areas once a while during this time, or 2 years, within 2 years you go once a while. So that type of a thing one should have. So this is this all our practices in Sanatan Dharma has been more than scientific. I tell you one thing. So these are different chakras which get activated when you do this pranayam. So I'm not going to discuss too much on this because this is every chakra is a seminar. So don't worry. Okay. What happens when you are doing the thank you breathing or the thank you protocol, right? Or thank you pranayam, I would say, not breathing anymore, because it is a very conscious, awareful breathing. So my father said that thank you is when you do thank you breathing, it automatically, by default, automatically activates your Manipura chakra. Now, Manipura chakra is center for fulfillment. Gratitude exists here. Of course, there are different. This is basically the Tanmatra nomenclature here, but there is another nomenclature in psychological nomenclature, which means fulfillment. Whenever your stomach is full, you are fulfilled, right? You are happy. And that's exactly what gratitude and giving does to you. It makes you fulfilled. So the fulfillment center is this one first. When this center is fulfilled, then everything, this lower center, which is anybody who is genuinely full of gratitude, he is always forgiving, right? Forgiving, and he does not hold on to any resentment, which is let go center. It does not have anybody who has experiencing constipation or urinary trouble and all that. It is purely because they are not letting it go. Let go is controlled by this Swadhisthana chakra. So if you activate full gratitude and fulfillment, you will never experience constipation. Can you believe that? Never. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You will never experience because you are not holding on to anything, you're letting go. Why you could let go? Because you have the ability to forgive somebody. This is it. And most of the elderly people have this challenge of not letting go, and because they cannot let go, because they cannot forgive somebody. Oh, somebody said this to me. I am so experienced and so I'm like 70-year-old and this fellow is 22-year-old and this thing that he knows more than me. That is non-forgiveness, and you don't let that go from your innermost subconscious level. You will not let that happen to you, and as a result of which, it will show up on your physiology. It will show up in the morning. You cannot have a clean bowel movement. That's it. How do you know that somebody is not forgiven anybody yet? Morning will tell you. Your morning will tell you. My father said if you activate this and this by default. Automatically. Now once this is activated, these two centers get automatically activated too. Yes, oh my goodness, is that right? Yes. So gratitude, the person who has practiced gratitude, we had shown this slide earlier, how a person who is constantly in gratitude automatically has his insular cortex, right insular cortex center get active. Right insular cortex is a center for compassion and love. So how is gratitude, practicing gratitude for a long time trigger the right insular cortex? Because Anahata chakra got activated. That's why Anahata chakra got activated and acceptance, total acceptance happens and communication happens with the next chakra get activated automatically. Automatically. Suddenly, when you see constant gratitude happen because of this center, which is basically controlling our prefrontal cortex and all that, you will have clarity. Only then is surrender possible. I repeat, this is the most important in the entire talk. The only thing is important is surrender. Can you let go so much that you can surrender everything? Lord, this is all you. Nothing is mine. And that comes from total clarity of thinking. That a snake, whatever you have seen the depth of it. Means instead of the superficial aspect of it, you see what it is, what is the real nature of what you are seeing. Let's say I just gave an example from Vedanta, Advait Vedanta. The snake you see, and what happened? Panic happened. Sir, and not only panic happened, you almost feel that he has bitten you also. And you go to the doctor and he creates an anti-venom for you. The reason is that you have assumed a rope to be a snake. All our diseases in our life, physical diseases, all of them, physical, mental diseases, all because you do not have the clarity of what it is. You have not understood what is reality. You have considered a rope as a snake, and obviously, when you see a snake, you will have cortisol in our body, the stress in our body, and the inflammation in our body, and the cancer in our body, and all the junk that happens because of non-understanding. What is it? So Avran and Vikshape. Avran is covering, Vikshape is projection of what is not. That is the power of Maya. Power of Maya is Avran and Vikshape. Avran is it covers and Vikshape is it projects. What happens? This is pure ignorance. The rope was covered. The rope was reality, but it covered itself and in projected as snake. That's it. This is, if you can understand, this is where the Agya Chakra happens. Once you understand with clarity what is truth, truth is rope, not snake. Truth, whatever you see in the world is the projection of the consciousness purity, pure consciousness. Shiv Tattva, they call it, right? That Shiv Tattva is the reality. Rest is all projection. And don't get stuck and hung up with the projection. Oh, this is mine, I, me, and mine. That's where the trouble starts. Then the downward journey starts. Non let go, hatred, missed communication, absolutely zero gratitude, and I'm not going to forget you anyway, no matter what. This is downward fall. Once you have the surrender happens, Sharanagati automatically happens. You don't have to struggle for this at all. Sharanagati is I'll explain to you Sharanagati in a different manner. This will be so, uh, okay. In chapter 9 of Gravity of Gratitude, the last line is like that. Why wait till tonight? I thought. I just sat down mentally saying thank while inhaling deeply and you while exhaling completely for 16 hours straight in a meditative trance. That's it. Once you appreciate that, once you this is not 16 hours straight. I sat there. I did not lie down. I sat there, and whatever I am talking is coming from that. That is a meditative component. It automatically leads to a deep meditative component and a peep into the consciousness space. the direct experience of our default nature. That remember the true nature we are talking about with that clarity and with total surrender and with total samarpan, which means uh, samarpan and sharanagati all happen together. Is what it is. So what happens when you sit down in deep into this is a dissection of meditation process. You will appreciate this because don't get too much worried about the names and the scientific names. I cannot compromise on the scientific name because that's truth. That is what is scientifically validated ideas. So I just use the terms. Now in this left diagram over here, you'll see all the colored aspect, this colored thing, red, this, that, this. All these get activated when you are sitting with your eyes closed and quietly sitting. And what happens? The mind wanders. Every meditator, I would say, the one who does dhyan, actually, anybody who sits quietly for 10 minutes is most, in the first 10 minutes, the most misery. Heavy duty misery happens because mind wanders and thoughts begin to stray in the beginning of the meditation. Why? Because all these bright areas they get fired up. This is called default mode network of our brain, which is very useful for creativity. Remember that. And whereas meditation is non-creativity. Remember, it is beyond creativity. Not that it is non-creative, but it is beyond creative because it gives these brain regions sufficient rest to revitalize again. Okay, so posterior cingulate cortex, the peroneus cortex, inferior parietal region, and the mid prefrontal cortex, all these guys get activated. If you continue to sit longer, then what happens? The anterior cingulate cortex get. Now what happens? This awareness of distraction, this over here you are distracted heavily. This distraction is picked up by this awareness of this distract is picked up by this anterior cingulate cortex. Over here you see posterior cingulate cortex activated, but now this one is activated. Why? This is activated because all these fellows have triggered this fellow also now. Now this fellow says, no way, man. This is anterior cingulate cortex and insular cortex. The awareness of distraction is picked up by say, why awareness of distraction? Because you must have known in the book you've written there is a region in the brain which is called RAS, reticular activating system, right? This reticular activating system which is present in the spinal cord and all the center part of the brain, this part of the brain, all the way inside, right? This is the one which makes a decision whether this fellow is interested in this sitting there or not. Then if you continuously persist to sit, that RAS, the reticular activating system, thinks this fellow is serious. Hence, it triggers anterior cingulate cortex and insular cortex. Have you ever noticed, anybody who has sat down for meditation, ever noticed tears running out of your eyes for no apparent reason? It's not that you are sad or anything, it just rolls out of your eyes. Tears roll out, incessant tears roll out. I've seen this happen to me a million times, and several other people also in whosoever I have talked to. They feel that there is that insular cortex. Remember, it is a compassion and love center. Love and compassion originates there in the brain. That particular compassion is self-compassion. You for the first time appreciate who you are, and you feel compassionate that you have just like avoided understanding it, and that compassion is what causes tearing up. Then you continue to persist, right? Now what happens is dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and inferior parietal cortex starts to get activated. And these are the brain areas that help in disengaging attention from distracting thoughts. Remember that. Oh, beautiful. Now, you sat there 10 minutes, you persisted, and then what happens? Now this area will get fired up and it will help you. Brain itself will help you disengage from the distracting thought and refocus on your rhythmic breathing, coupled to thank you. Beautiful, right? And then what happens is this dorsolateral prefrontal cortex sustain the focus on the rhythmic breathing. This constantly. So that's why when somebody is in pranayama all day long, which means he is in meditation all day long, because you will not be, if you are not hooked in actually in deep meditation, you are basically the pause is so long, maybe once a minute you will breathe one time a minute, but you will not know that. Now this entire studies have been done in Madison, Wisconsin, on Tibetan Buddhist meditators, which are like 40 years, 50 years of meditation practice they have had. And this is culmination of the study, a long-term study they have done, and this is the three-dimensional diagram of the various regions that get activated, and the studies were done using uh, bold fMRI signaling techniques. Okay. And after that, even the focus on the rhythmic breathing is transcended during deep meditation, and then you land up into conscious deep space, which is your true nature, right? So this is the basic activation of the brain profile. Here, brain activity is very high here, and as and when meditation continues, so low. Sadhguru in England, one of the major hospitals, they were wanting to understand but what is the brain activity during meditation. And Sadhguru doesn't need to worry about this. He just closes his eyes and he's right here. Within seconds he can go in here because he has practiced all. Now he can just close his eyes and he can deeply go here right away. Immediately he can go here. Once he can, and those people found no activity in the brain. It was considered as if it is a dead brain. It's a straight line. Once a while there was a blip because he could breathe once in 2 minutes, and that's it. He says you are dead. Clinical death has happened to you. He says, look at that. Came back again. I am now alive. So that is the power of his the protocol that he is also uh, uh, forwarding big time. Now this study was done here by these guys. So let's discuss the 3D, the 4D, and the 5D states of consciousness. During the first 10 minutes, you will see this separateness, fear, unhealing feeling, limited feelings, struggle, competition, physical, material, linear, logical thinking. This is what it is. Non-authentic, non-aligned, this dualistic, trapped feeling, disconnected. This is the 3D consciousness state that we are in. This is the default mode network of our brain, which allows uh, to be very aggressive in the world of object, emotions, and thought out there, but it causes this phantom identity. I'm separate from the universe. Right? When I'm separate from the universe, you have always fear lurking in your mind, where the original fear is ego. So the origin of fear is ego, because once you are separate, you want to exert that identity and you are afraid that somebody will destroy that. That is, the separateness causes fear. Okay? And the separateness is because of the ego, which is phantom identity. It is unreal. It is not real. It is unreal. But you make it that. What is the real phantom identity? I have been bitten by that snake, which is which I just saw a few seconds ago. That was the rope. There's nothing to do with snake. But that fellow bit you, and now you have poison all over your body. You went to the doctor, and the doctor was also in the same state as you are. He was also thinking about, I am a doctor, right? I am wearing this apron, I am a stethoscope man. I know, you don't know, I know. So that fellow is also suffering from the phantom identity called ego, which is I am a doctor. That label is stuck with him. So that label is causing him separateness. And he says, yes, you are definitely bit by a snake and you have poison all over. Let's go to the pharmaceutical industry, which will produce antivenom. Or those people are also double phantom identity. They say, wow, definitely money making opportunity right here for me. Now let's do the treatment of this fellow. All the treatment and all the junk that you see in the world is all about phantom identity. Strengthening of phantom identity, limited feeling, competition, and all that stuff. Continue for 15-20 minutes and another 20 to 40 minutes, and then you start to see the integration phase, which is a 4D state of consciousness, which is a bridge between the 3D and the 5D. This is the place where you start to feel healing, internal healing happening. If you continuously sit like this, you will feel alignment fails. You are standing at the threshold, but you have not achieved yet. But you know that something is definitely right here. I feel something different. This is what will happen. Right? Continue with that. 40 to 60 seconds. Another. You will land up into 5D state, which is egoless, connected to everything. You feel that everything is connected to you. You are not separate anymore. You feel integrated. You feel healed. Integration is integrity. You understand where the integrity comes from? Integrity comes from being in the 5D state of consciousness. If you do not experience 5D state of consciousness, all integrity, supposedly, all integrity means all um, show off, hypocrisy actually. It is pure hypocrisy if you are not integrated, which means integrity is not there. If you are not integrated, you cannot have integrity. You may show a facade of integrity, but it is pure hypocrisy. Hmm? So unlimited feeling, effortless, it is pure. Everything happens by itself. You are not. You are so aligned to the original source that you don't have any desire anymore. That is really being thankful. Chapter 9, if you have not read, I think most people have read it. I urge you all to read that chapter again and again and again. There are 7, 10 different layers inside. Every time you read it, you will find something new in that. That is most beautiful chapter. You will feel what is to be really thankful. This being desireless is actually thankful because everything you have it. There is no desire in your life. Desire means that I don't have something. Right? That's why I have this is that. When you are thankful, what happened? You got it all, right? When you are thankful, you say, I have got it all. I have kritakritya. Kritakritya is the beautiful right word for that. Desireless is the diluted version of kritakritya. Kritakritya means I'm so fulfilled that I don't have any desire anymore. That is really thankfulness. Non-linear magical. Right? This is authentically living, inspired living. Everything you start to live inspired rather than in fear. This is whatever why we're doing what we're doing is because of fear. Here there is no fear. You are inspired to do. Here you will get tired. In fear, 3D, the ego and phantom identity mode, you will feel tired. Here you will never feel tired. You're inspired. You're passionate. You're driven. The beauty of this driven purpose is once I asked my dad, what is the purpose of my life? I don't find any purpose. This is what makes you think you are such a big time that you want to have a purpose? No, the only purpose if you think is to become the best tool in the hands of the existence who will use you for its own purpose. This is what my dad has said. My goodness. How do you do that? And you read the book, you will get to know how to do that. Okay. compassionate, intuitive. You get very high intuition about anything. You can foresee because you are in a higher plane altogether, very different plane altogether. So how do you know? Well, it's just like, there is a friend of yours, and you're sitting on the top of a mountain, sitting there, at the peak of the mountain, and your friend is on the bottom most of the mountain. And we both have walkie-talkie. So I call him from the top, and we say, "Man, listen, do not cross the road between this time to this time." I say, oh, he said, "Why?" There is a truck coming. Oh, I don't see the truck. He will say, "Well, I can see the truck coming. Trust me." Oh, I don't see it. But for you who is standing on the top of the mountain, you can see present, which will be future for him. But right, and when it comes to the you have already when it comes to that part, it will become the future for you, but at the same time it will present for you also. So you can see the past, future, and the present simultaneously. Whereas this fellow sitting here on the bottom of the mountain, he cannot see anything. He can see only the for him it is future. For you it is past, and for him it's all mess up, right? So on the mountain top, the fellow can see everything clearly, and that is basically called intuition, because intuition is for the person down here, down in the valley. But for you, you can see it as is. There is nothing like intuition for you because you can see it. And with that seeing or knowing, compassion arises. And that's why you told your friend down there, please don't cross the truck, the road right now because the truck is coming. So that's what it is. Anyway, we cannot understand the true meaning of gratitude without first appreciating grace. This is the most important. Many friends have asked me. I do not, I do not feel the way you felt about gratitude. The way when I don't feel when I say thank you, I don't feel it. I said, you know why you're not feeling it? Because you are not appreciating grace. And grace is something which is undeserved favor. We have never earned grace. We cannot be earned. It is freely given. And if you have no appreciation for what is freely given to you, you can never in your lifetime appreciate gratitude. Never. So gratitude and integrity, which means integrity means integrated living, are the most beautiful flower that arise from the inner core. Slowly, the bud opens. It becomes a flower. Soon, it will have wings in the form of fragrance. The whole life will become fragrant. Soon, not only one flower, but millions of flowers shall bloom. And when even one more flower blooms because of your blooming, know well the spring has come. This is the whole process of Shruti ji trying to figure it out. She is involved in flowers to bloom more and more so that she can experience, the world can experience spring back again. What is this difference between this grace? What is grace, gratitude, surrender, or the Sharanagati and Samarpan? These are beautiful terms, but let's explain, let's understand. This is a nice, beautiful home near the beach, right? Now, there was one door open here, this particular door, and the bird came in and came inside. And it is looking around here to find out, oh my God, I'm trapped here. He can see this ocean there, this nice tree, this is freedom. That's where he came from. And suddenly he tries all his best. He bangs against this curtain, he bangs against this glass window, this bang. He can see it outside, but he cannot go outside because there is a glass window here. And around here also there is all this fan and everything else, and he gets tired and he falls down. What happens? the most compassionate, the house owner picks up the bird lying over here in his hand, and he, with the dropper, he feeds that bird little bit water, puts the water in his beak, and he is almost exhausted, can't even open his beak. So he opens his beak very gently, puts the dropper inside his mouth, and after some time the bird starts to breathe naturally and normally. And now this gentleman opens his door and puts the bird to go. And he does not know whether to go or not to go. He is in love with this gentleman. There is double feeling with him. I could be killed. I don't know. Maybe he will not allow me to. The moment I try to run, he will close me up and will kill me. Or he is also thinking how compassionate of him to give me the water, uh, and make me alive still back again. I was dead. So he surrenders. This is called Samarpan. This is called Samarpan. And Sharanagati is when this fellow held him. This Sharanagati, the bird has no role in that. Sharanagati happens because of the compassion of the universe. Sharanagati happens because of the compassion of the Guru. This fellow has no role. All he can do is Samarpan. But Sharanagati is the domain of the divine. So in Samarpan, the ego remains. I did the Samarpan, he says, right? But in Sharanagati, total annihilation of the ego happens. The I is no more. Only you. There is Ananya Bhav. Ananya Bhav means I am non-existent. Only you exist, right? In Samarpan, there is intense effort precedes Samarpan. Now this bird was trying to go, and he did it all his level best to go from this window or that window. That was the Purusharth that the bird was doing, right? Samarpan requires you, before Samarpan, Purusharth is inevitable. Without Purusharth, there is no possibility of Samarpan. Remember that. One thing, most important thing. Oh, lack of understanding of Samarpan. Samarpan does not mean I have left it somebody. It's you. No, 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 no. That is for Sharanagati. Samarpan, you have to do effort. Serious effort. Till you find the fallacy of your effort. And you drop down. And once you drop down, then the Sharanagati happens. In Sharanagati, no efforts, zero effort is needed. And after the Sharanagati, what happened? That bird was let go and he sits on the tree. Remember that this tree over here, he does not want to go. He wants to take a peep at this benevolent, this master here, great saint, most benevolent person who saved him from uh, dying. And all he says is, so what is that? This self-realization. What is the self-realization in the language of knowledge? Is what is the Sharanagati in the language of devotion. So when you talk about Sharanagati, it is the devotion language, and self-realization is the same thing as Sharanagati in the language of knowledge. When he comes and sits outside on the tree, he just say thank you.